Hi everyone, my name is Joshua Johnson. I'm the Director of Academic Technology at Wisconsin Lutheran College, as well as a Google for Education certified trainer. Wanted to remind you a few things about sharing with Google. First of all, an important notice. Every Gmail account is a Google account. Seems to make sense, but in the same way that every square is a rectangle, but not every rectangle is a square, even though this is true, not every Google account is a Gmail account. You can set up a Google account with some other email company. You can have an Outlook address. You can have a Yahoo address. You can have a number of different email addresses that are attached and created as a Google account, giving you access to things like Google Apps. It's important to remember that when you are trying to share. So a few reminders about sharing with Google. If you are going to share with an individual user, in most of the applications you click on the blue share button, you type in the address of the user, and you define using the drop-down menu whether they can edit, comment, or view on those documents. You can also use the advanced sharing that's underneath there. I typically use this in order to see who has access to the document and changing their sharing rights or editing and commenting rights after I've shared it with them, or even removing them altogether. The most common way that people share documents with a mass or a large group is to share with a link. And you can change whether or not the people with the link are just allowed to view it, allowed to comment on it, or allowed to edit the document. Keep in mind, if you are in a domain, for example, Google for Education school domain or a Google for Work domain, you might be restricted to sharing within your domain. You'll have to talk to your administrator about that. If you're able to, you can go into the advanced link sharing and you can decide whether you want this thing to be public on the web. Now that's a lot to chew on, but it's important to remember these big distinctions. When you share something public, that means it's going to be searchable. People can search for that thing on Google's databases and find it. If something is unlisted, that means anybody can still get into it, but they have to have the link. So they're not going to be able to search on Google and find the link, but they could if you post it in a forum or email it to a friend and then he emails it to someone else and then they tweet that link out. It's public, but not publicly listed. And then the final one, private, means you have to share that. And again, when you are sharing something privately, you have to share it with someone's Google account. Alright, you have to make sure if you share it with somebody's email address and it's not a Google account, they're going to get a notice that says, hey, you've been invited to edit this document, but they won't be able to get access. So let's just take one quick second to do this in real time. Here's a blank Google document. I want to share it. Click on the blue button. I need to have a name for it, so here's the name of my document. And then I have the options. I can enter an email address here, or the way that I typically tell people to do this is use the shareable link, decide whether or not people are going to be able to access it, whether they can view it, edit it, comment it. Remember, if you can click on more, you might have some more options if you're part of a domain, and then when you're finished with that, copy this link. And now if I jump into an incognito window and put that in there, you're going to notice that that person has access. In this case, I've only given them access to view that document. So copy the link, share it. I'd also recommend that if you're going to do that, to use a Google shortener in order to make that link a little bit easier for people to use.